It's winter, and you can now get almost anything you need for the coldest months of the year delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a ski slope delivered, but you can get dish soap delivered. Sunshine, that's a no. But a bottle of wine, that's a yes. A snow angel, sorry, no. But angel hair pasta, Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol and select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
This episode is brought to you by Abercrombie. There's nothing better than the perfect jean and going out top combo, or an outfit that perfectly matches your plans. Abercrombie's relaxed jean goes with every occasion. Date nights with something lace, or daytime with a cozy sweater. And their barrel jean will surprise you. It's the trend that will become a staple in your wardrobe. Abercrombie denim comes in tons of rises, fits, and washes. Find your perfect pair online or in store.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
We are live. It is no credentials required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts of the show, and to my right is a man who absolutely motorboated me in fantasy football this week.
Oh, man.
Dustin Henry. Dustin, you real bastard. How you doing?
I don't know I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but I know
what happened.
Well, you got Christian McCarthy hurt. You know, you got some key players hurt on your squad there, but I was able to sneak in and pick up one Zach Charbonnet. Will I talk about him later in the show? We just might have to. You have to tune in to find out.
I guess you will. But we're gonna get to everything in just a moment. I'm just spreading the word that we're live. But in the meantime, we go ahead and before we get to the show, remind you about our social medias, which are right here on the screen. Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, TikTok, Instagram, to scarcely use TikTok @NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, TuneIn, iHeart, and Pandora. And get yourself notified on Twitter. I still refuse to call it X, and on YouTube. So you know we're live. When we're live, or we put up a video or put up an announcement, you'll get notified. On the podcast side, rate and review. A 5-star rating will be very helpful. On if you are on a platform where you can review the show, or if you're on Spotify, if you subscribe to us on Spotify, leave a comment. Leave a comment. Every show now has a comment section. You can talk about the show. You can leave us a comment about the show, about the episode you listened to, or just a general comment. And because we're live on Tuesdays at 7:05 Eastern, I got things mixed up on Saturday. I apologize. It's next week we're switching to 8:30, not this week. So this week is regular time at 7:05 Eastern. Also, we'll have some. We're gonna have a live show on the next couple Fridays too. So tune in, grab an adult beverage or a beverage of your choice, and tune in for some sports talk and some beer reviews. But yeah, engage with the show. If you're watching live or you're watching on replay, we would love for you to make a comment. And Dustin, I don't know, little hand on the big hand might watch you saying something special. It's what time is it?
It's pointing to those chimes. It's chime time.
Chime time. We've already got a comment rolling in from Julie from Michigan. She's saying, hello, gentlemen. Hello to you, Julie. Thanks for tuning in and commenting. We appreciate it. No Lions talk tonight, although we might touch upon some Lions talk. Even though we talked about their game on Thursday. But we'll talk about other football topics tonight. But before we do that, Dustin, some breaking news
Ooh.
across the wire about a little bit before the show. So I have some breaking news here. It comes from the world of baseball, not football, but
Okay.
baseball. So from the world of baseball, left-handed pitcher Max Fried, formerly of the Atlanta Braves, will sign with the New York Yankees.
Oh, I did not see this. That's a welcome addition
Yes.
to the pitching staff. Now, Ryan and I are both Yankee fans. That is the one team that we overlap on. And New York's other teams trying to steal the headlines from the New York Yankees. And they laid out a mountain of money to get Juan Soto. So just as an aside, because we won't be talking baseball that regularly until football is over.
Yep.
But I just want to say, if I hear any Met fan talk about the Yankees payroll, I will not allow it. I will not allow it. Because you're spending just as much as the Yankees did. Hey, and I'm not faulting you for it. You have an owner now that reminds me of George Steinbrenner. He's going to spend because he wants to win. So hats off. But you can't say, oh, we're a small market team. We get outbid by the Yankees all the time. Blah, 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 blah. No more. No more.
No more. No more. No, you can't. I'm sorry. You can't use that excuse anymore of the Yankees are ruining baseball. They're ruining baseball with their big contracts. You know who started it? The Los Angeles Dodgers started it. The Yankees just followed suit and they got better. They were first. They were the first to get good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it seems like, I guess what happened was that I saw a clip on social media today about Brian Cashman. He was on MLB Network talking about something, and all of a sudden his phone was ringing. He's like, "Oh, guys, I gotta take this." So it must have been about Max Fried saying, "Yeah, I've agreed to sign with the New York Yankees." So
yeah, I am happy about this signing for sure. Yep. He's been very good for stretches. Be interesting to see how he pitches in Yankee Stadium. But I have been bemoaning the Yankees' need for pitching, and I hope this signing works out, because we have had in recent years Frankie Montas, that didn't work. Sonny Gray didn't work. We have had a lot of pitchers who have pitched well in other environments and organizations come to the Yankees and kind of stumble a little bit. Heck, Carlos Rodon, even though he kind of had a redemption this past season a little bit, especially in the postseason. It's been rough. It's been rough. He wasn't as good as previous stops in his career. So this, I hope this one works out, but I have a good feeling about it, and I hope I didn't jinx it.
Me either. I mean, look, they couldn't bring in Juan Soto, which is fine. I kind of expected it. I wasn't going to be too torn up if he went somewhere else, as long as he didn't go to Boston or the Dodgers. I couldn't have cared. I could have cared less where he went. Or Toronto. Like, this is the Blue Jays were going after him. Like, the Blue Jays aren't going after him. Are you kidding me? They tried the whole thing with Ohtani, and it's like, no.
Yeah, no. We don't mean to sound like elitist when we say this, but when Scott Boras is your agent, that immediately cuts out a large portion of the league. Yeah, because it means that either the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Mets, the bigger teams, the bigger market teams are going to be in the front running for the talent. That's the way it is.
Yeah, and we're talking about this in our Slack channel on Belly Up Sports. About the Soto contract, and I mentioned that baseball does not need a salary cap. Baseball needs a salary floor. They need a minimum amount of money, because no one player. No, actually, no. It was in our Discord. So the description below for the link to our Discord channel. Come join us. Have some fun talking all sorts of sports, including baseball. And we were talking about in the Discord chat yesterday in Major League Baseball. We're talking about how baseball needs a salary floor, because one player, in this case Juan Soto, going to make roughly $55 million a year, which is a lot.
Yeah.
That is more than some team payrolls in Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Major League payrolls in 2024 by team, and I'm looking at right now, hang on 1 second here. The Oakland A's, their total salary for last year was $62 million. And Juan Soto is making $55 million.
Yeah. That's
So this is incredible.
and I agree with you, Ryan. I don't think I participated in the conversation via type, but I did read some of it. I agree with you that it needs to be a minimum floor because there are some baseball. It is obvious more than any other sport. There are some owners in there that have no intention of winning games.
Yeah.
They just want to make enough. They buy a team and they want to treat it either as an asset for their portfolio or something that they can say they have. But it is clear that they do not actually care about fielding a team and winning.
Yeah.
As it stands, baseball is not a sport that you can quote unquote run on a budget. The examples of that working out are few and far between.
Yeah. And the deal is reportedly worth 8 years, $218 million. So a skosh. Let's see if my math is correctly here. Do my math correctly here. But I suck at math.
Me too. I'm worse than you.
218 million divided by 8. It's about 27 and change $1 million a year. So they're spending about 27 mil. And yeah, I mean, it's actually the highest contract ever for a left-handed pitcher.
Wow.
And he's 30 years old, so it's going to be there for a while. I'm looking at the report from Jeff Passan of ESPN. I'm looking to see if there's any kind of opt-outs. Like Garrett Cole had an opt-out for his contract, but he wound up re-signing because that was part of his deal. So I'm looking to see if there's an opt-out somewhere if it was just straight 8 years. And doesn't appear that there is an opt-out. It's just straight 8 years, $218 million. So yeah, Yankees get an left-handed pitcher. I think that's the one thing that I was okay with Soto leaving because I think their pressing need was to help their pitching staff, especially the starting rotation. So and they went up getting it with Max Fried. So I'm happy that they made this move.
I am too. Sad to see Soto go. I'm not going to act like I'm not. He is a Hall of Fame level hitter. Let's not get that twisted. And I hope he does well for the Mets. I really do. The back end of that contract probably going to be a little rough. But his defense isn't exactly elite from what I remember, but hitting wise, he's a Hall of Famer now. As it is. So I mean,
and also think about
pay for.
And also think about it this way: the Yankees drafted who many are considering the left-handed version of Aaron Judge, and Spencer Jones from Vanderbilt. Drafted him a few years ago. 6'7", 225. He did pretty well in Double-A ball last year. So I have a feeling that he's going to try to win the right fielder's job in spring training. And if he does one up in the opening day roster, that fills your left-handed needs. Now, is he a level of Juan Soto? Absolutely not. He has to prove himself as that because he's in the minor league system. But this guy can rake, he can hit tanks. So, all right, before we get to NFL this week, we're going to quick search through the comments here. Julie saying that's okay. So it's okay. We're not doing as much lines talk this episode. She says I'm here to support anyway. And she was also wondering when we're going to talk about Max Fried signing with the Yankees. So, well, there you go. There you go, Julie. We aim to please.
And I do agree. I do agree. The Tigers do need to pay Tarek Skubal.
Yep.
But it's going to be tough for them to do if Scott Boris is the
Scott
agent.
Boris is going to get that bag for his he's going to get that bag for his clients, and Scott Boris's client just happened to be Juan Soto, so you just kind of knew that they were going to play hardball with the Yankees. She's also asking, "Where's Dr. Lady with this baseball talk?" I know. Wonka the Saint joining us, saying hi. All Kevin Wilson from Belly Up Fantasy Sports saying math isn't my strong suit either. Yeah, English history, and coming soon and starting tomorrow, craft brewing.
Oh yes, that's right. You and I. It's no small wonder we became friends, Ryan, because that is pretty much a clone of. I was very good at math, at history and English. I'll break it down for you like this, just to get a little more off the rails than we already are. My SAT rankings, when you took the SATs and the scores were different, and they sent you this thing in the mail that basically told you where you ranked throughout the country. It basically told me, it said you can speak and read better than 86% of the nation. I was like, sweet. And then it's like, you can do math better than 10. I was like, ooh. I always got stressed during tests. I wasn't the best test taker, but man, what a dichotomy.
Yeah. Matt from the Corner Booth podcast saying MILF, man, I love football, except the entire coaching staff of the Jets. We're going to get to that later. And our friend Mr. Wilson saying, with Soto gone, the Yankees can do a lot of other things with that money, like with that money. Oh my God.
That one got me. I'm sorry. Oh man.
I was waiting for somebody to brace themselves like, he's gonna swear. But let me try that again. Rewind. With Soto gone, the Yankees can do a lot of other things with that money, like sign Max Fried. And
there you go.
Oh, and Wonka saying NCR Suds, you do need an ID to partake. Credheads beer coming soon.
And
there Julie saying I was above average in reading and writing and below average in maths and science. So don't feel bad, Dustin. No. We all got our specialties, right?
Yeah, we do.
All right, let's get into the football talk. We're going to review week 14 of the NFL, what stood out to us. So we're going to start out with the most entertaining game of week 14. I'm going to have you start off, Dustin. To you, what was the most entertaining game in NFL week 14?
Oh, well, for me, I mean, this is one of those weeks where if I had my druthers, there were two clear picks. Well, there was one pick that stood out above the rest, but you got to the doc first, and I had a feeling you were going to pick this one. So I was thoroughly entertained by the game that I'm going to pick, and it is, and I know you're going to get to it a little bit later in the show with a different context.
For different reasons.
Yes, but I'm going to pick the Dolphins versus the Jets. Because, and let me start by saying, everyone has heaped a lot on the Jets this year. Everyone has thrown the dirt on the Jets, and rightfully so. They have underperformed in nearly every metric because of the sky-high expectations that most, including both of these hosts sitting behind these mics right now, had for them at the beginning of the season. The defense has underperformed. We've gone through all of that. But I will say, for as much as it was heaped on Aaron Rodgers and this offense and Devontae Adams at points and everything else, the Jets played. They didn't play like a team that was defeated and giving up on the season on Sunday. The offense came out and looked better than it had in the last couple of weeks. And the Dolphins also, hats off to them. Now, they do have slim, and I mean very slim, playoff hopes. But they also came to play, and they looked a little bit more like the team that they wanted to be before the season started. And this was an entertaining game. It was a back and forth game. It almost went to or if I do, I have to double check my notes here. It felt like it was going to go to overtime, and it was two teams that could have easily given up and laid down, and it was a back and forth game. And I found it entertaining. Now I know the Jets defense, Ryan, again, they kind of let you down. And they didn't stop Miami when they needed to, but it was entertaining to watch. And I applauded the effort silently on my couch of both teams during this game. I love back and forth games like this, and I was not expecting much out of this game. So maybe I am a victim of, I had my own preconceived notion of how this game was going to turn out. And it exceeded, it exceeded my expectations. So I think that's part of the reason why. But it was a back and forth affair. Aaron Rodgers still in this game relied on, he looks for Devontae Adams too much. You can see it. There were times when Garrett Wilson was noticeably open, and Aaron Rodgers is still trying to force the ball to Adams a little bit. So that's something, I don't think that's going to change. We know the relationship that those two guys have. We know they have great chemistry with each other. But Rodgers, especially at this stage of his career, does appear to force the ball to Adams a little bit at times. So that's something they got to shore up. But the Jets looked more competent than they have in recent history during this game. And like I said, both teams came to play. Tyreek Hill actually appeared in this game. The Dolphins are starting to look more like the Dolphins. They looked more like the offense that some thought they were going to be. So I found this game very entertaining. And with that, I cede it to you for what was an amazing game. And I'm sure Playmaker, if we speak his name, he may appear, because he's going to want to hear you talk about this one.
I believe in the Playmaker. My most entertaining game was definitely Rams over Rams and the Bills.
Yeah.
We didn't know what kind of game we're going to get out of this game, because we don't know what we're going to find out what the Rams were, because they've been so streaky this year. And for the first time believe it or not, this is the first time this year they've been over 500. So they're sitting at 7-6, a game back of your Seattle Seahawks for first place in the NFC West. So they're still in the hunt for that division.
Yeah.
But the thing about this game is that you kind of saw that they were, and spoiler alert, this is my biggest upset too. So this is my biggest upset pick basically by default.
Yeah.
Although we had some other close games. But I mean, you could kind of see it with the Rams. They were up by as many as 14. They're up by 14 at the half. They're up 31. I think they were up 31-17 at one point. But the Bills came storming back. And Josh Allen, the first player in history with 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns in the same game. So he's the one who kind of single-handedly kept them in the game. Now, here's another odd statistic for you in this game. While we had punts, we had a couple punts. I think each team had 2 punts each. This was the first. I think this was only the second game in history. Second game, either in the modern era or in NFL history, where neither team had a turnover or a sack.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. It's a crazy statistic. So, credit to the Bills. I mean, the Bills are who the Bills are. Yeah. But unfortunately, with that loss, they get stepped behind. They're 2 games back again of the Kansas City Chiefs for that number 1 spot in the AFC for the playoffs. So they're slowly going out of the driver's seat. But with the Rams, they kept things going. They kept things moving. They literally outscored the Bills in this game, because they had to. That's the only way they're going to win, is just to kind of keep the offense going. Puka Nacua had 2 touchdowns. I think Kyron Williams had another 100-yard plus game on the ground. Let me just double check that stat real quick. Please hold.
Holding. Maybe we can do some...
no, he had 87 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns also. But Matt Stafford had a pretty decent game, 300 plus yards passing. I mean, both quarterbacks played really, really well. I mean, Josh Allen, you're going to have Josh Allen. He's definitely my top 3 for the league MVP power rankings, which we'll probably revisit on Friday, I reckon, with the happy hour. But yeah, this was a very entertaining game. I enjoyed myself watching this game. Back and forth between all the other two games that were on the 4 o'clock / 4:25 hour, which again, the NFL needs to stop that.
Yeah.
Either they got to stagger it or just like not have as many teams on bye weeks as they've had this year. I mean, this is 6 teams on a bye week, especially this late in the season, where you get into December and there's important games every week. You can't do that. You can't.
No, it's just because it and the 4 o'clock hour has routinely played second banana to the 1 o'clock. The NFL, you've been all over this season, but this season it seems worse than any other. It's front loaded. Sometimes there's been weeks on Red Zone where it's 2 games in the 4 o'clock hour, and then what if both of the games are dog turds? Then you got to sit there and they just keep bouncing back and forth between the 2 games. Like, I don't want to watch either of these.
No, and we talked about this on Saturday. There was a lot of games that were complete dog water. A couple of them turned out to be utter dog water, but a couple of the games that were actually very entertaining.
Yes,
and even the 4:25 hour had a couple of entertaining games. This was clearly the most entertaining one. So credit to the Bills, credit to the Rams.
Yeah,
it's give us one of the best. Give us arguably, my opinion, the best game of the week. Most entertaining. So
yeah. In that Lions Packers game, I'm not going to lie, I thought that one was going to be tough to beat, but I think I got to give it the Rams. The Rams Bills game had everything you want. I mean, Puka Nacua was all over the place. Cooper Kupp reminding you he's still that dude. Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things. Amari Cooper, there was an Amari Cooper sighting. He was the first time that he really was able to factor in to Buffalo, other than the first catch he had after the Bills acquired him. So there was a lot to like in this game. James Cook was running up and down the field, and Kyren Williams. Can't say enough about Kyren Williams, but the Rams did enough. I was worried going into this game about the Rams defense and how they play against the Bills. They did enough to keep, to kind of contain the Bills to the degree that you can contain the Bills and Josh Allen. The Rams led, and if it wasn't for Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things, this game might not have been as close as it was.
Yeah. That's for sure. All right, let's move on to the biggest upset of the week. And like I mentioned, the Rams Bills by default was the biggest upset because it was the only game that, it was the one that had that was the biggest upset. But you had a couple near upsets.
Oh man, I was licking my chops for one game.
Panthers Eagles.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to talk about a particular Panther later in the show. What category? Okay. You'll find out. But you also had the Chargers Chiefs in contention for the biggest upset. And then thanks to a doink, the Chiefs walked off with another walk-off win, and they walked off with another division title. So I'm telling you, eventually their luck is going to swing the other way. It has to. Law of averages.
Look, Playmaker has said in their comments, Chiefs are God's team right now.
Yeah.
For how long, we don't really know, but they're God's team right now. But yeah, I had my eyes on Panthers Eagles because I was going, this game's turning out to be a decent game. And then Chargers Chiefs didn't disappoint. Lower scoring than usual for that type of game, but Chiefs coming away with another win at Arrowhead against the Chargers, and still undefeated since 2021 against the Chargers. So but yeah, biggest upset, Dustin, probably the same.
Yeah, it is the same. There were, there's no way that usually there's a way I can figure out to pick a different game. But sometimes you and I, Ryan, we just have to pick the same one because it's a clear cut candidate. This is the only one.
Yep. So a little chalk, but that's okay. I mean, like we said, we talked about this on Saturday. A lot of dog water games in this one, but biggest. It was a not so fun filled week in terms of upsets, but we had some good ones out there.
Yeah.
All right, biggest disappointment. I'm actually going to lead off with this one because you know what's coming.
Yeah.
You know what's coming. Once again, the New York Jets consistently find new ways to lose every single week. Fun fact, or not so fun fact, they haven't won a game on Sunday since week 2.
Oh,
week
man.
2 against the Titans. Well, the offense did their job. They're generating points. They generated points. They didn't have that many punts this game. Although you could argue the last drive that had them go ahead with the field goal by I can't remember his name all of a sudden. Played for Green Bay. I can't remember his name. Anders Carlson, right? I think it was.
I believe so. Who was kicking for the Jets?
Yeah. Not Greg Zuerlein.
Yeah, it is Carlson, I believe. Yeah,
Anders Carlson. So he's come through with Zuerlein being on IR. The two negative plays that they had that led to the field goal didn't really help because I thought I was confident that the Jets could wind up scoring a touchdown and taking that game in Miami for the first time in a long time. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because the offense was doing their job. The defense is a shell of what they used to be last year.
Yeah.
Couldn't generate pressure on Tua. Couldn't force a turnover. And the Dolphins score 3 on 3 of their last 4 drives. That's including the overtime game-winning touchdown by Jonnu Smith because Tua was doing things that foiled the defense. The Jets, like, for instance, wide tight end screens, wide receiver screens, getting the ball out of his hands so quick that the Jets had no time to react. I mean, on the final drive, on the overtime drive, you had those 2 chunk plays that went to Jonnu Smith that were just tight end screens. They were in the same play 2 times in a row. The Jets defense was sitting around just like, what happened? Before they say, what the hell? Jonnu Smith is 20 yards down the field. It's like, come on, guys. So they can't tackle this. They can't tackle this year. They can't force a turnover this year. The Jets have a turnover ratio this year of -3, which is really surprising. But they're dead last in the NFL with the Giants with 2 interceptions.
Ooh.
Last year they had 17.
Yeah.
So this drop off of the secondary is just astronomical. And like death and taxes, the Jets missing the playoffs is a certainty because they were officially eliminated from the playoffs after Sunday's loss. And I'm just really happy that hockey season's here. My Jersey Devils are doing pretty well. Because if my happiness depended on what the Jets were doing this year, I would be incredibly sad.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're not. I'm glad that you're not. And I'm glad that for either of us, I'm glad that football doesn't dictate our lives, because I think at different points both of us would have been in trouble. But if you would like to figure out how Ryan's Devils are doing so well, tune into the 3 Rails Metro Hockey Podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna record. We're going to record a new episode. We're trying to record. We haven't been able to record a new episode for the last 2 weeks. I've had some stuff going on in my personal life, including yesterday. So we couldn't record last week or this week, but we're hoping to record on Thursday. Although show announcement, I'll be on the Corner Booth podcast pregame on Thursday, 7:00 Eastern. So tune in for that. Grab a drink and tune in for that. But yeah, we're going to likely record 3 Reels on Thursday night, and we'll have it up on Friday morning for you, so you can listen to what we've thought about our team the last 3 weeks. And spoiler alert, if you're a Rangers fan, Brian is going to be absolutely apoplectic on your behalf. I'm going to be smiling from ear to ear because I hate the Rangers.
I know you and my uncle get into it every year about it a little bit.
Yeah, playfully though. I mean,
yes, good natured. Good natured.
Oh, it's funny. My niece, who's getting into hockey. I finally have a hockey buddy in the family. My niece is getting into hockey. And her favorite team is the Devils, and she was trying to convince me to go to the game on the 23rd.
Yeah.
Devils are playing at Prudential Center. The Devils are playing the Rangers that night, but unfortunately, I can't get the time off from work. So she's like, "No, don't worry about it. We'll go another day." So we're gonna go to see the Devils and the Flyers in January. So that'll be fun. But yeah, that's the in my sports life. The Devils are all I have right now. So although the Lions are my spirit team this year, as I've mentioned, I just don't want that stink all over the Lions. But how about you, Dustin? The biggest disappointment in your mind?
Well, if you tuned into Saturday's show, you would know that I had my eye on two quarterbacks. Now, did Russell Wilson light it up? No, but the Steelers won. Who was the other quarterback that I had my eye on, Ryan? I believe.
Does he share a name with a rapper named 2 Chainz?
He does. He does. Kirk 2 Chainz Cousins himself. Now, he got a warm welcome in Minnesota. Was it because Vikings fans knew that he was just going to get outplayed by Sam Darnold? Now, Kirk, yardage-wise, his yardage total, he threw for 344 yards against a Vikings defense that at times has been very good this year. And you might say to yourself, Dustin, why are you picking Kirk? He didn't do that bad. Well, I'm going to tell you why. He, for the fourth straight game, did not throw a touchdown pass. So he had no touchdown passes, and he threw a couple of interceptions against the Vikings. And then to make matters worse, he was badly outplayed by Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold threw five touchdowns. Yeah. He really outplayed Kirk Cousins. So overall, Kirk Cousins didn't have a bad game. But when you factor in the fact that his completion percentage wasn't that great, he also, while he did throw for 344 yards, there were no touchdowns among them. He hasn't thrown a touchdown in 4 weeks. Sam Darnold, meanwhile, on the other side, threw 5 touchdowns in one game. And it was just a bad week at the office for Kirk in what is rapidly turning into a bad first season in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. And if he continues this pace, he's slowly making the way for Michael Penix Jr. If you saw that typo on the Atlanta Falcons website when they drafted him, my God, Hall of Fame mistake. Interns getting fired. All right, before we take our network mandated commercial break, let's go through the comments. And Julie saying, "Yeah, that has me quite nervous when the Lions play the Bills. That'll be this week. Spoiler alert: it might be my game to watch this week."
Yeah.
Josh Allen is that guy. I hate people who say, when people say, "Hey, Josh Allen is him."
Yeah.
I'm starting to hate that slang now.
He's him. Yeah.
And she said, I benched Josh Allen in fantasy football this week on principle.
Oh man, Julie, I hope are you competing for a playoff spot?
I believe she might be in the playoffs in the league I'm in with her. I'm in the playoffs in the league that we're in, Dustin. But I think I'm 1-11 in this other league. I kind of mailed it in this year.
Yeah.
It's Kevin Wilson saying, you have to admit watching Joe in that 4:00 hour was pretty entertaining. Joe in that 4:00 hour.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think about who he's mentioning. Who's Joe?
I can't.
Not Joe Burrow. He played last night.
Yeah, that's
the Simpsons game.
That's all I can think, and I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Homer was picking off Bart. It was crazy. I saw some clips.
And Bart threw the game-winning touchdown to Lisa.
Yeah, Yeah, and he threw a touchdown to Ralph Wiggum too, I think, didn't he? I'm trying to remember. I think he threw one to Ralph Wiggum.
I'm special. Wonko saying the Bengals versus Cowboys felt like an upset the way the last 2 minutes played last night.
Oh man, you're not kidding. Wonko, were you watching the
boy.
Manning cast? Because watching the Manning cast and seeing Peyton and Eli's reaction to that Cowboys special teams player touching that ball. Oh, it was delicious.
The pink can of sap is showing up. Sports ball. Julie sending me a virtual hug. She's sorry because of the Jets. Thanks, Julie. Kevin saying, speaking of ways to lose, it'd be tough to top the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Julie's saying the Cowboys deserve to lose. Screw those guys. Am I still
Julie, this
bitter
is the
about
type
last
of
year?
fandom
100%.
we're here for.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Wonko saying that she loves seeing the boys lose. Kevin Wilson wants to make sure that we talk about the Stars on Three Rails Metro Hockey Podcast. Kevin, I love you, but it's called the Three Rails Metro Hockey Podcast for a reason.
Although there was Oilers talk in the first episode.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we do delve into NHL related topics after we talk about our teams. So to be fair, we do talk some NHL. Although this week we might talk four nations face-off teams. The teams were announced this week. We'll probably talk about the Luke Richardson firing from Chicago because he's playing Connor Bedard at a position. So, and I talk about how the Devils might run it back with Taylor Hall. Maybe.
Oh man,
we'll see.
That would be. I still think Taylor Hall got a raw deal in Edmonton. Man, he's better. Man,
best 1-for-1 trade ever.
Yeah, no, I know.
And Julie was saying, I was rooting for the Falcons too. I need the Vikings to lose. Yeah, because they're a game up on the lines are up in the one game in the Vikings right now. Yeah, and Julie saying, clarifying, she did play Josh Allen last week in fantasy, but this week she's benching him on principle. And Welcome says he's got to watch that Manning cast. Yeah, I like the Manning cast. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's
I like it. All
right, we're gonna take our network mandated break. When we come back, we'll talk about the rest of what stood out to us in NFL Week 14. So please stand by and stay tuned for more. No credentials required.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, we can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
That's right, folks. SeatGeek is one of our premier affiliate sponsors at Belly Up Sports. We've talked about on the show before. Our friend Kenny bought tickets on SeatGeek for our venture to Glens Falls to see the Adirondack Thunder get the taste slapped out of their mouth by the Reading Royals last month. But hey,
man.
Kenny saved $20 by using promo code BellyUp at checkout because his order was $50 or more.
Mm-hmm.
Used the promo code, got $20 off, saved a little bit of cash to buy some candy for his kids. I believe also our friend Mr. Staniel Smooth also used the promo code BellyUp Sports at checkout because he wound up going to the Seahawks game with his fiance.
Yes.
Using that promo code.
He did. He said, shout out SeatGeek.
Yeah, he did. So that's what you want to do, folks. NFL season's wrapping up. College football playoff. And bowl season's here. If there's a bowl in your locale, you can go to a game, look for a great seats on SeatGeek to give that pricing tool where you get the green dot tells you that's the best price you can get. But it's not just football. There's also the NHL, and if you want to, the NBA, I guess. College basketball, some neutral site games. You could probably look at the tickets at SeatGeek. But it's not just sporting events. As that handsome man mentioned in the voiceover commercial, concerts, comedy shows, plays, musicals. If it requires a box office ticket, You can find it at SeatGeek.com and save yourself a little cashola. By using promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, get $20 off your order of $50 or more. So SeatGeek.com, promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, $20 off your order of $50 or more. And Kevin, yes, he did clarify his comment. He said he hit send before he realized I said Joe instead of Zach. I think he meant Zach Charbonnet.
Oh, yes.
So as your fellow Seahawks fan in the chat, very happy that the Seahawks won this week.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about the most notable performance or performances from Week 14. Dustin, I'm going to have you start with who was your most notable performance or performances
Well,
in Week 14?
I'm going to go in a very surprising direction, I think. Most of you who have been watching the show and or listening to the show for any length of time know that I love when a quarterback goes off. Sam Darnold had 5 touchdown passes. Did I pick him? No. Josh Allen making his history at the quarterback position this past week. Did I pick him? No. Also, you know that I've been banging the drum about the importance of the running back position. After last year, people were saying, hey, the running back, we can sign anybody. We don't need anybody. Well, there's been an emergence of bell cow, quote unquote, bell cow running backs. The lead running back is back this year. Zach Charbonnet, as if Kevin on cue, he mentions Zach Charbonnet. Was I sipping on Charbonnet this week? Yes, I enjoyed the performance, but I am picking none of those players. I am picking Adam Thielen of the Carolina Panthers. And the reason
Dustin's
that
got Thielen.
Yeah. Adam Thielen, he was dancing on the feeling. I don't know. I tried. It was supposed to be football field, people. They can't all be winners. But Adam Thielen is a winner this week, and I'm going to tell you why. Overall, the Panthers played the Eagles like they were not afraid of them, and we are seeing Bryce Young start to mature a little bit and pick it up before our very eyes. And if we could go with most improved offense over the last few weeks, I'm going the Carolina Panthers. They have nothing to play for, but they're playing like they have things to play for, and they are starting to figure it out as a team. But a big reason for that is Adam Thielen's return from injury. I'm going to tell you how important he has been over the last 2 games. He has had 20 receptions for 158 yards and a touchdown over the last 2 games. And the reason that I am picking him, you might say, why are you picking him this week? His numbers didn't jump off the page. He had 102 receiving yards, and he had, I believe he caught 9 passes for 102 receiving yards. But when you factor in, and credit to the broadcast team that was doing that game, because they mentioned this, and as soon as I heard that, I went and did a deep dive on the numbers a little bit. 5 of the conversions, 5 of the catches that Adam Thielen had were on 3rd or 4th down when the Panthers needed to convert to keep the drive going. Adam Thielen is one of the main reasons why Bryce Young is improving, because you can see Bryce Young, when he needs somebody to come up with a big catch, he looks for Adam Thielen first. Yep. That's Adam Thielen is I would argue one of the most valuable players on the field for the Panthers right now. And in a year where we have heaped a lot on the Panthers, and myself, I'll call myself out a little bit. I kind of was surprised by Adam Thielen signing with the Panthers. I did not know why he did this signing. And I think when you looked it up, Ryan, you had said that he wanted to help mentor Bryce Young and help develop Bryce Young. He's going a long way towards doing that. So special shout out to you, Adam Thielen. You really impressed me this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he went to Carolina. He wanted to help out Bryce Young, and he wanted to be that veteran presence in the locker room to help a young quarterback, a young receiving core. And yeah, absolutely. I watched that game on Sunday. I was watching on Red Zone, and I'm sitting there going, wow, the Panthers are taking the Eagles to task. It's incredible. I was very surprised, and it's if you had the Panthers covering this game like you did a couple weeks ago against the Chiefs, and you made some money. So
yeah.
So my most notable performance of Week 14 was the defense of the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Now, the 49ers are not dead yet. We've talked about the 49ers, their demise. Maybe we talked about the demise a little too quickly, but hey, that's just how the game works sometimes, and it's every given Sunday. And this week, they just happened to get the dead weight known as the Chicago Bears. And at one point in this game, the Bears offense had 2 yards.
Yeah.
2 to, I believe it was over 300 yards for the 49ers.
It was.
300, it was like a 318 to 2. I think was the number. I'll double check the meme. But but the Niners, they allowed 3.1 yards per play. 182 total yards. They sacked Caleb Williams 7 times, including 3 sacks by Yetur Gross-Matos. But here's the most impressive part of the 49ers defense and their performance. Other than the fact that they were playing the dead carcass of what was the 2024 Chicago Bears season. They did all of that without Nick Bosa in the lineup. He was on the injured list for this game. He was on the injury report, out for the game. He's still got that hip injury that it's been bugging him. But the fact that the 49ers defense did all that without Nick Bosa in the lineup is in my mind is pretty damn notable. Pretty notable. So that's a pretty big statistic. It's a big win for the Niners. Just happened to luck out with them this game saving their season, because the Bears are just absolutely terrible this year. So this is that's my most notable performance. Wonko chiming in with Jamar Chase, 14 receptions, 177 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Notable and salary cap damaging next season. LOL.
Yeah, I mean this T. Higgins is as good as gone in Cincinnati because they're going to have to try to keep Jamar Chase, and with that contract that they gave Joe Burrow, T's gone. They can't keep everybody together there, and it might hamper them at running back for a couple of years because who knows? Chase Brown, I think he's still on his rookie deal. I don't know how long that is, but if he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's going to want money at some point. So
Chase Brown, that good old Canadian boy, Chase Brown. All right, we're gonna wrap things up with our hottest individual takes from Week 14. And Dustin, I'm gonna lead off with this one, Dustin, because I know you said you got some. I got some things to talk about. I'm gonna actually give you the floor for that one. I'll have you go solo because I want you're gonna cook. I can just tell.
I might need an assist from you though. I might need an assist.
All right, so I won't go solo. But my hottest individual take from Week 14 has to do with the playoffs because we are now. It's December. Teams are playing important. Most teams are playing important games, except for if you're in Jacksonville, Cleveland, one Jets drive. Trying to remember where else. Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
You're not playing important football right now. The only thing you're playing for right now is draft pick. And even with the loss, even when the Jets lose, the Jets lost and they still went back a spot in the draft order. They were 6th coming in. They're now 7th because Tennessee losing to the dumpster fire in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the playoffs and just a moment. And looking at the teams after this week, you got one team that's in the playoff bubble right now in the AFC that I'm looking at for the rest of the year. And I think this is a team that has the best chance to get into the playoffs. And it's not who you think I might pick. But the Indianapolis Colts are the team in the bubble with the best chance to get into the playoffs. And I'll tell you why. Why? Here's why. Shout out Simon Miller. Now, next week is arguably their toughest game. It's gonna be their toughest game of the schedule coming up. It's gonna be the Denver Broncos. They travel to Denver, taking on a team that's also coming off a bye week, who's been red hot as of late. Great, the top 3 ranked defense in the NFL. Arguably the rookie of the year at the NFL with Bo Nix at quarterback. They're playing absolutely great right now. After that game, they have 3 absolute garbage opponents. And the Tennessee Titans, they're home against Tennessee. They have a return trip to MetLife Stadium to take on the execrable New York Giants, who were also officially eliminated from the playoffs this week after they lost in that absolute train wreck of a game against the Saints. And by the way, shout out to all the beat writers and journalists and play-by-play people who cover those teams, had to cover those teams in those stadiums last week for those games, which were barn burners. If those games were a really slow burn.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, Tennessee. They got Tennessee at home. Then they traveled to New York, taking the Giants at MetLife Stadium, come back to the scene where they beat the Jets about a month ago. Then they're at home to wrap things up. They're at home against Jacksonville. Those 3 teams have already been eliminated from the playoffs. But they do need help. They do need some help from teams that are playing Denver. They got to do some work for themselves because they're playing Denver next week. And Denver also they're at Cincinnati, and they close at home against Kansas City, who has already clinched the division. And if they've clinched home field for the playoffs, they might just play their reserves.
Yeah.
Although we don't really know. Andy Reid has a way of surprising us. But they also have the Chargers in front of them. The Chargers and the Broncos have the 6-7 seeds right now. Chargers have the 6, Broncos have the 7. So the Broncos I mentioned, they play the Colts, then they go to Cincinnati, and they close things out against Kansas City. Oh, they also have the Chargers too, because the Chargers, the next 2 home games are against Tampa Bay and Denver. Then they gotta go to New England and then Las Vegas to close out the season. So the Colts need some help. They have some work to do for themselves, but they also need a little bit of help along the way. I'm gonna go on a limb here. Here comes Rice-Damas. I think. Oh, damn it, it's not here.
No
thunderclap. I think the Colts have the chance to run the table. They gotta get in. Now the Broncos, they've only allowed 19 sacks this year. Bo Nix has only been sacked 19 times, which is impressive because he's got a good arm. He's also very mobile. But if they win that game and they win out, they beat Tennessee, but they beat the Giants and they beat Jacksonville, get a little help, I think they make the playoffs. I think they sneak in.
You've laid out a compelling argument, and also let's not forget that has Joe Flacco looked amazing this season? No, but if something should happen to Anthony Richardson, which is you never root for it, you never want any of this to happen, but with the way that Anthony Richardson plays, he's played better as of late, but he plays very aggressively, running the ball and things, and he throws his body on the line. If something were to happen to him, there are a lot worse backup situations in the league than having Joe Flacco in there too, especially against the teams that you mentioned.
Yeah. Oh, so I got it now. All right. So let me go back. Let me go rewind it. If the Colts get past the Broncos and they get a little help along the way, the Colts make the playoffs.
So good. It's so good. And I will tell you, Ryan, that if you are right about this and this happens, I will gladly give you a bag of Invader coffee.
Actually, funny story. I actually ordered some today.
All right, perfect.
I got the cookie crumble And I got the tiramisu because they didn't
Ooh.
have bad Santa on the whole bean. They only had ground only.
Oh man, I was able to get a whole bean bad Santa. I got one. I got one in past the goalie. It just arrived today. That fast shipping, you gotta love it.
Nice. But I haven't had the tiramisu yet, so I got that instead, along with cookie crumble. All right,
Oh,
Dustin, her hottest individual takeaway from Week 14 of the NFL.
All right. Well, I applaud you for picking a relevant hot take, a hot take that has to do with the playoffs. To say I'm about to go in a different direction is an understatement. And also, this is going to feel like a very personal attack, and it's not. I assure you, it is not. But I am legitimately baffled how this happened because I did not realize that this person was still coaching in the NFL. I ask you, anybody that's watching, anybody that's listening, anybody that's watched football or followed football for a long time, how does Rob Ryan still have a job in the NFL?
He still exists.
Rob Ryan is currently the
God.
senior defensive consultant for the Las Vegas Raiders. And now Rex Ryan, he's been out a while. He's making a name for himself in TV, but I have long argued that Rex was at least a great defensive coordinator and at times a decent head coach. People that have regarded Rob Ryan as a great defensive coordinator, Ryan, I put a link in the show document that pulls up his Football Reference page. And if you look at the statistics, there are a lot more years where he finishes 20 or worse in statistical categories defensively in the NFL. And I'll give you the stats for the Raiders defense this year. The Raiders defense per Fox Sports, the Raiders defense is 15th in total defense, 15th in passing defense, 14th in rushing defense, 30th in scoring defense, 25th in red zone defense. They allow 27.8 points per game, which is top 3 for the worst in the league. Now, you might say to me, Dustin, the Raiders, they're devoid on talent. It's not Rob's fault who they draft. It's not, there's a variety of factors. There's injuries. There's everything that you have to consider. Now, if this was an outlier for a Rob Ryan coached defense, and I get he's not the D coordinator, but he's the defensive consultant or whatever it is, the senior defensive consultant. Rob Ryan, at one point in 2015, he had what is considered to be statistically one of the worst defenses. They finished last in total defense in 2015 in New Orleans. He has had stints in Dallas where his defense, he takes over a defense, he improves them marginally, but then invariably the defense, it slips back down. And the people that replaced him in Dallas, Mike Zimmer among them, turned the defense around at certain points. I did some research for this one. I'm not just taking stray shots at Rob Ryan, but Rob Ryan, I brought in all sorts of resources for this one. And Ryan, like I said, on that Pro Football Reference chart, for as long as he has coached, there has been times where he finished, like I think one year with the Raiders, he had a top 3 defense in the NFL. I think it was 2006. I'm trying to remember. I did a lot of numbers crunching before the show.
Yep.
But I also turned to AI, and I get AI is controversial. A lot of people have a lot of things to say about AI, but just for funsies, I asked AI, I said, hey, is Rob Ryan a good defensive coordinator? And you want to hear what it said? I couldn't have summed this up better myself. Here we go. Over the last 10 years, Rob Ryan's defense have generally ranked in the middle to the lower part of the league in total defense, with several seasons where his units were ranked in the bottom half, including a particularly poor showing as the defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints in 2015, where they ranked last in total defense. Inconsistency. While he has had some seasons with a top-tier defense like his 2006 Raiders unit, which ranked third in yards per game, his defenses have often fluctuated in performance, leading to inconsistent rankings across different teams. In his later coaching years, particularly with the Saints, Ryan's defense have been ranked towards the bottom of the league in total defense. I could not sum it up better myself. Thank you for the assist. But the whole thing that's speared this thing off is during that Raiders game, that Bucks Raiders game, which I was watching because I had to put Baker Mayfield as my fill-in quarterback against you this week in fantasy. And I'm watching it. And they said something. They said the Raiders got a turnover because Baker threw 2 picks in this game. Raiders got a turnover, and the announcer said the announcer said the Raiders defense one of the worst in takeaways this year in the NFL. And then almost as if on cue, the camera panned over to Rob Ryan on the sideline. And I said, is that Rob Ryan on the sideline? How is this happening? How does he keep getting jobs?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, Rob. I hope to be at the next Ryan family Thanksgiving. I'll take an invite.
I'm just doing some research, real-time research for myself right now. I'm asking Chat GPT, how do NFL defenses rank with Rob Ryan as an assistant? And let's find out what kind of answers Chat GPT gives us.
Yeah. It's
typing. It's typing.
This is scintillating, but I don't mean to go in on Rob Ryan like this, but I've never felt that Rob Ryan is as good as Rex. You can say what you want about Rex. A lot of people have a lot of things to say about Rex, the way he coached, the way he handled some of the press conferences, the kissing of the rings. I'm not here to kiss the rings, all that bravado, the Bills truck, all the things, but at least he has had points, and you cannot argue with those Ravens defenses. But Rob, I mean, New Orleans Saints, Dallas Cowboys, Cleveland Browns, what are the common denominators between these teams they haven't been the greatest of teams, and he's been the defensive coordinator on all of them. And he also had the job in 2019 with the at the time Washington Redskins, and that defense, everybody was saying how talented they were going to be. They had pieces. Spoiler, he's not there anymore because the defense was bad.
So this is what ChatGPT gave me in my summary, our summary of Rob Ryan. I'm not sure if did you use Gemini?
I used the Gemini, whatever the built-in one was.
Yeah, Google AI is kind of squiffy.
Yeah, right. That's why I said I'm not sure if all of this.
That's why I use ChatGPT, my friend.
Yeah.
So this is what it says. Rob Ryan has had a lengthy coaching career in the NFL, primarily as a defensive coordinator and assistant coach. His defensive units have experienced varying levels of success, and his performance has often been tied to the personnel and overall structure of the teams he's worked with. Here is a general breakdown of his impact when serving as an assistant coach or defensive coordinator. Strengths. 1. Aggressive play calling. Ryan's defenses are known for aggressive blitzing schemes and creative pressure packages. 2. Adaptability. He has shown the ability to mold his schemes to fit different personnel, although this hasn't always led to consistent success. 3. Player development. He has helped elevate individual players, especially linebackers, and systems he oversees. Now to the challenges. 1. Inconsistent results. While Ryan has had standout seasons, some of his defenses have struggled with consistency, ranking near the bottom of the league in key statistics like points allowed and total yardage. And 2. Overly complex schemes. Some players have cited challenges in grasping his complex playbook, leading to communication breakdowns on the field. And then it gives notable defenses with Rob Ryan. He actually has a Super Bowl ring with the New England Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
He's a linebackers coach from 2000 to 2003.
I did learn that thanks to Pro Football Reference and researching before the show.
Now, in 2013, as the defensive coordinator for the Saints, they ranked 4th overall. but it says they did fall sharply in subsequent seasons, leading to his dismissal.
2014 and 2015 were bad.
Yeah. Now here's a snapshot. While Ryan has had a few high-ranking defensive seasons, many of his units have ranked between 15th and 30th in total defense. His best years typically involve strong front seven play and effective pass rush schemes.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's in the middle of the league or the lower half of the league consistently. I'm sorry, Rob.
So would you say he's mid?
Yes.
Or below mid, as the kids would say?
Yes. And hey, I'm not saying I'm probably mid at handling life, okay? It happens. But he keeps I didn't even realize he was still in the league, Ryan. I didn't know.
I didn't know either.
Because to me, Rex is the superior Ryan. And I think both of them get well regarded because of who their father was, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's basically what it is that their dad was, I mean, I hate to say it, but their dad was Buddy Ryan. And
yeah,
I mean, to his credit, Rex Ryan was a good coach for the first 2 seasons of the New York Jets.
Yes.
Then he handed the keys over to Mark Sanchez to run the offense, and look at where that got them.
We saw what happened when the Sanchez was back there.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. One more comment before we get out of here. Wonko chiming in saying Seahawks over Packers Sunday in Seattle. Over my skis, under my skis, into a tree prediction. Talk about that on Friday. So yes, Friday. Next 2 Fridays, Friday the 13th, Friday the 20th. We're having a happy hour live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have an adult beverage. We'll each have an adult beverage, and we'll review Thursday night's games. We'll talk about the beers we're drinking first of all. Then we'll talk about Thursday night's games. Then we'll talk about the rest of what we're going to prove, what stands up to us in Week 15. That might be one game. I know Dustin's on your radar as a Seahawks fan.
Oh yeah.
So we might talk about that game, as well as other games that stand out to us. Lions, Bills being one of them on Friday. So Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, special time. Grab an adult beverage, hang out with us, tell us what you're drinking. We'll tell you what we're drinking, and we'll talk about sports and other things. So, Kevin Wilson says, keep an eye out for Jason Friday. Yeah. That's the one thing. Yeah.
Maybe he's gonna be coming after me for my take on Rob Ryan, and maybe he's gonna I don't know.
Maybe Jason is Rob Ryan.
Maybe.
And Wonko saying, thank you all, great show. Thanks Wonko for stopping by. Don't hit that notification bell, my friend. That way you know when we're on live, man. So stop on by. Keep stopping by, man. We appreciate you being in the chat. In the meantime, though, we're gonna get out of here, but don't forget to follow us on social media. That would be on Facebook, facebook.com/NoCardsREQ, Twitter, Instagram, scarcely TikTok @NoCardsREQ, but youtube.com/@NoCardsREQ. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And as I said to Wonko, get yourself notified. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when we go live or we upload another video, a pre-recorded video on YouTube, or make an announcement on Twitter. That way you know to get notified of any show changes or anything like that. Rate and review, 5-star rating would help. A review if you're on a podcast platform. If you can leave a review would be helpful. On Spotify, if you're a subscriber, leave a comment. You can leave a comment for all of our episodes. We might even read it out in the air. They all help the show. Ratings, reviews, comments, they all help the show. Also, on YouTube and on Rumble, engage with our show. You can see in the comments, the live comments. We see them. We'll read them on the air. If you leave a comment on the replay, we'll read that on the air. So unless you're a thirsty hoe, don't come at us about promotions or anything like that. We're poor. Don't make that much money. We're poor. But we're going to get out of here. Thank you for tuning into No Credentials Required. We don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. Don't forget, Friday, happy hour. Bring a drink. Let's talk some sports. In the meantime, We're going to get out of here, and we will talk to you again Friday, 8:30 Eastern. Until then, we'll see you then.
Good night, everybody.
There it is.
This episode is brought to you by Paramount Plus. Gladiator 2 is now streaming on Paramount Plus. Rated R. Years after the death of Maximus, Lucius is forced into the Colosseum after his home is conquered by tyrannical twin Roman emperors. With the future of the empire at stake, he must find strength and honor to return the glory of Rome to its people. Gladiator 2, now streaming on ParamountPlus.com.